Again, when I was a kid, Virgil, Coco Beware, and Kamala were the only black wrestlers around in terms of representation.
Start of the 1990s was pretty much the same as the 80s in that professional wrestling promotions, they still kind of had the one in, one out mentality. So in the 80s, like when promoters had black wrestlers, they usually only had one in the promotion, and it was like, okay, we've got one, we're good, we don't need any more sort of thing. And it kind of fed its way into the 90s. So in the WWF, you had Coco Beware, and you had Virgil, who wasn't even used as a wrestler, he was Ted DiBiase's manslave. And you had the vignettes of him massaging Ted DiBiase's feet, and then Roddy Piper taught him how to read so he could spell his name and all this shit. And it's just like, that's the representation that black people had in that particular promotion. And in WCW, they had more black wrestlers, but they weren't, well, Ron Simmons, Dusty tried to push Ron Simmons to a world championship level, but it didn't really work out. But they had PN News, and you had Brickhouse Brown, all these other guys in WCW, but there wasn't really any representation, as in someone that you could get behind. Too Cold Scorpio was big on indies at the time, but I mean, it changed as the 90s progressed. So you had a couple more wrestlers. It just depended on who was in charge of these particular promotions at the time. In WCW, when Bill Watts came in, he hired a lot more black wrestlers because Bill Watts was into hiring black wrestlers and pushing them, because he felt that if you push black wrestlers, well, then the black audience would follow. That was his whole mentality. And then when Jim Ross came into WWE, he really tried to push for more black wrestlers getting jobs. But
Shout out to Jim Ross for that.
yeah, that's what the 90s were like. It was still the one in, one out mentality, especially in places like the two major promotions.